All right, guys, another aspect of linear relationships is going between graphs and equations. So this is how we started learning linear relationships. So we had y equals mx plus b, and we know that b is our y-intercept. And so that is the value of y if x is 0. So 0 and then b, our y-intercept. And then m is our rate of change. And the rate of change is where we had Louis. And Louis always starts at the left. And Louis either goes uphill if it's a positive m, or Louis goes downhill if it's a negative, if it's a negative m. Okay? And if it helps, just run your finger along it. Okay? So let's just take a look at this first problem. It says which equation best represents, it should say which graph, sorry. Which graph best represents equation y equals 1.4x plus 2, okay? So we always start with our y-intercept, so we have plus 2. So each time we should be going over our y-axis because we're going to stop right there where the lines intersect. Okay, so that's going through 0, 0. I'm going to do this y-axis. Oop, and it hit right here at 0, 2. I'm going to go and do this one. Boop. 0, 0. And this one here. 0, 1. Okay, so I'm looking for y-intercept of 2, so 0, 2, which means, wow, that's all I had to do for this one. But I do want to go ahead and talk about the rate of change. So the rate of change is this number right here, right in front of my x. And so since 1.4 is positive, I'm going to want Louis to go uphill. And he always starts in the bottom left, or the left. It doesn't necessarily have to be the bottom. Sometimes it's the top, but Louis starts at the left. And so he's going uphill in all of these graphs. Okay, so this is important in how you should be text coding and using your strategies on a problem like this. Okay. Let's move on to our next example. So this example, it says, let's zoom it in a bit. All right. It says the graph of a line is shown in the grid below. Which equation best represents the graph of the line? So again, we know our steps, right? So we have our equation y equals mx plus b. The b is my y-intercept. That is step 1. So that is going to be the first thing I do on this problem. I'm going to use it to go down the y-axis, and I'm going to stop and put a point where it goes through the line, which is right here. So that's at 0, negative 1. And so now that I know that's my y-intercept, I'm going to go down here to my answer choices. I see negative 1, and I see negative 1. I see plus 2. Nope, that doesn't work. And I see plus 2. Again, that doesn't work. So now we're down to 2, which gives me a 50-50 shot, right? So now my step 2 is my rate of change. Okay, so now I'm looking at Louis. So Louis starts over here at the left. Now Louis is going to, all right, that's up because I'm taking my finger or my pointer and I'm running it along and it's going in an upward direction. So he's going uphill, which means that my m should be positive. So this here is negative, which means that's not gonna work. This here is positive, and so that works perfectly. If I want to go ahead and check or just use these strategies that I know, my third piece is substitution. So with substitution, I'm going to choose a value or choose a point where it goes through exactly. So let's see, looks like right here it goes through exactly. So that's at 6, 2. Okay, and so that's kind of hard to read. So sorry. Okay, so 6, 2. And so I'm going to plug in x as 6. So 1/2, and then instead of x, I'm going to put 6 minus 1. So half of 6 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. All right, so I was trying to get this y value, and look at that. It works. So step 3 is substitution. Okay. All right, let's look at this next example. All right, so again, we're going to use our strategy. So step 1 is my y-intercept. I see it says +5. My y-axis looks a little different. It's on the left side, not in the middle, but still, here we go. I see it intersecting this point right here, so 0, 5. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, I see 0, 5. And here we go. Oh, again, 0, 5. And here we go again. So 0, 5. All right, so they all have the y-intercept, so I cannot change it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just make a line so that I can visualize things a little bit better. I'm connecting these points. My line is not perfect, and that's okay. But it helps me see where I am going. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now step 2 is Louis. So Louis starts at the left. So although this is higher, Louis is going to start up here because that's to the left. And Louis is going downhill. Here's Louis again. He's going down again. Here's Louis again. Oh, he's going up over here. And here he is. Oh, he's going up again. All right, so my equation says it's a -1/2. I'm looking at my m, which is my number right in front of the x, -1/2. So I'm looking for a downhill, which means I can eliminate b and d. Although I didn't get to eliminate anything with my y-intercept, that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a point. Let's see, and I'm going to choose... See, 4 has a point on each of them, right? Here's a 4 and here's a 4. So I'm going to choose that as my x value, and I'm going to plug it into this equation. So my equation here is -1/2 x plus 5. So instead of the x, I'm going to go ahead and write my y value, or my x value. So my x value is 4. So -1/2, 4. Half of 4 is 2. And dividing by a positive by a negative is going to be a negative. So -2 plus 5, different signs subtract. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So I'm looking for 4, 3. So 4, 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. All right. So since A is the one whose line goes through that point, that is going to be my answer. All right. So hopefully these practice problems help. Again, step 1, y-intercept with your blue. Step 2, rate of change with your red. And then step 3 is substitution.